My next big project down here at the bungalow is this shower behind me. I framed it up, I don't know, several weeks ago. All it is 2x4s, some Wonder boards screwed on there, and I bought that shower base for $150. Yeah, it's April 18, and it's snowing down here in the south. My next project is going to be tiling my custom shower. And let me give you a peek at what it's going to take to do that job. A lot less than you think. Well, that's it. Okay, this is called thin set. Mix it with water to stick the tiles on. These tiles here, regular price, they're about 69 cents a piece. I got these to make a nice border, and then we have the grout. All told, I think that was about $65 for everything. A snowy day is no day to be using a wet saw to cut tile. Today's a little warmer. It was 25 this morning. Right now it's right in the low 40s. The wind's blowing. I always have more than one iron in the fire. Well, I've got to build a ladder for the girls to get up and down, and our poor little kitty cat who struggled up and down the metal ladder. Okay, we're ready. Do it. Let's see. Pretty good. Going for it. He's going for it. He's going to jump. He's going all the way. I need a mattress. Is there an airbag? There's no way to grab the rungs.
I know. I'll grab you because you won't let me. He's doing it.
You're crazy. I decided to use 2x6s for the sides and the rungs of the ladder, and here I've already done my layout for the steps. I took the average measurement between 3 different ladders, and we're going to have 11 inches between each rung. What I don't want is all the weight to be on the screws, so I want to notch these in a little bit. No, I couldn't find my nice dado blade set. It's packed away somewhere. So we're doing this the old-fashioned way with a skill saw. I whipped up this little jig out of a couple pieces of scrap, and this is how she works. You just take the board here, put it on flush, and butt it right up against the edge. And we just slide our little groove right there. And that's where the saw is going to cut. Put a clamp on here real quick. Check it out. What to do is let the old skill saw follow this board here. That's one side. Now I'm just going to slide this thing over to the next cut. We'll double check our width here real quick. Check twice. Alright. That's not half bad. Now all I have to do is remove the part in the middle, make a cut. Just knock the pieces out. And the easiest way to clean this up is not with this here. Just lift up your guard. Run the saw around, and that's the poor man's dado. And that'll fit in just like that. My dados are all done. Took 45 minutes altogether, including shooting the video. Not too bad. Time to do a little bit of sanding and maybe a little fitting. And I can assemble the ladder. I'm going to use screws and a little bit of wood glue. Here's a little neatness tip. We want these screw holes evenly spaced at the correct angle. We want them to match on both sides of the ladder. Well, I can recycle this jig we put together for the saw and use it for the screw holes. Now I marked how far apart I want my screws. Throw it on here. I made a small reference mark where I want my screws centered. Just slide up to the reference mark and strike my lines. Work my way down, no tape measure needed. Fast and easy. So I'm outside doing some sanding, chamfering my edges, getting ready for urethane, choking on sawdust. I hear some music in the distance. Someone up on the hill. Tell me I'm not a seriously blessed dad. Now I gotta hike all the way back down, but it's worth it. Here's the finished ladder in place. Came out pretty good, everybody likes it. This is how it fits up top, couple little brackets. Added some stair treads so the girls didn't go flying off. And helped the poor kitty cat get down the ladder. We got one other project going down here at the bungalow. We need water. So I got a couple of these IBC totes. Spent this morning cleaning out some kind of syrup for organic granola bars or something. And we bleached them, and Kim's helped me fill it. So what we did is we drove up to the neighbors and we filled up tank number 1. And then we're gravity feeding it down to tank number 2. And I rigged up this little fitting on the cap that came with it. Uh-oh. I just stepped on her toe. Alright, we'll leave that in. So, once we siphon all the water out of this tote, they're fairly light, and we'll just slide it out of the van, or the women can slide it out of the van for me because they stuck it in. And we'll just store it for the next week because that tote down there should hopefully last us a whole week. But I'm living with 3 women, so you don't know what's going to happen. Well, here's step 1. Got to mix up the mortar. Going to make a half a batch at a time and put up the full-size tiles first. Now my wife has to prep the Wonder Board for us because these dumb stickers aren't coming off. Stupid stickers. Dumb idea to put a sticker on there. This is almost done. A few minutes of hard labor. I couldn't find my nice mixer for the drill, so go the hard way. Alright, so it's about done here. You don't need power or fancy tools to do this. You want it about that thick. Alright, be careful not to use too much water. If you have any experience baking, it comes in real handy when you're mixing mortar. Be real careful as you're adding water. Always start with too little and then work your way up in small increments. Mix it good. It's got to rest for 5 minutes, and I'm going to go in and get set up and start sticking tiles on. Not too hard of a job. So we got the area all clean. My mortar has sat and I remixed it. I'm going to start with full-size tiles. There's going to be a fair amount of weight trying to slide these things downhill. So we're going to go full-size to start with, let them set up. Going to throw some spacers in between. I'm using 3/16 inch spacers, and for what it's worth, if you want to do it, this is a 1/4 by 3/8 inch notched trowel. So I'm not going to spread the mortar all over the wall. I'm going to butter the tile, just like butter and toast, and use the notches to ensure the right amount of mortar on the tile. And yeah, this is slower than just buttering your surface, but I'll use less mortar to be less mess and squeeze out between the tiles. Buttered. First tile is going to go in place in the corner. I already checked out their fit, so you want to shift it around and get the air out, and you can feel the suction. I can't even pull it off the wall. Shift it around the way you want it, We'll remove the squeeze out because I don't want it there. And that's essentially tile number 1. Here we are after about 25 minutes of buttering some tiles, and my small batch of mortar is used up. I'll make a little bit more and keep working my way up little at a time. We will have to cut around there, and I would point out you don't have to put big squares on the wall like that. You can go diagonal, make all kinds of neat patterns, but we're going cheap, easy, and quick. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting my shorter tiles, and that'll give me a little head start. I'll finish those 2 walls and then begin on this more difficult one. I have my trusty little tile saw set up. I've had this little Ryobi for years. I think the whole thing was around $130, maybe $150. And this tile saw has done numerous floors and several bathrooms. It doesn't owe me a penny. So I've marked off my tiles, and I'm just going to run a batch through the saw real quick. I'm cleaned up and all ready for a grout. And here's the, I guess you call it the difficult part. Now, I didn't buy any fancy tools. Believe it or not, I nibbled that hole right on that tile saw. No other tools. Not a big deal. Here's the grout I'm using. And I had to go and buy a little mixer paddle. I still couldn't find mine. We don't want any lumps, so we're going to high-speed mix it. You want it to look like chocolate pudding. Just a little gel to it. It's got to hold up to a vertical grout joint. We're ready to grout. I don't know if you have ever grouted before. Here's my bucket of grout mixed up. It has rested for 5 or 10 minutes. I have my float and a sponge and a bucket of water, and that's pretty much it. And we'll get started. I don't know how you feel about getting dirty, but if you don't like getting muddy and dirty, this is not the job for you. So basically, the strategy here is to use this float, which is a spongy material. Get a blob of your grout, and we're going to squish it into the cracks. Some of you might have kids that would be good at this. So we're going to squish it into the cracks, wipe off the excess. As you can see, I started. And as we go along, this will haze over, and the sponge and the bucket of water are for cleaning that up. We just squish. Yes, it's falling all over the nice shower. See that? But then we'll just pick up, there's a blob, we'll pick that up, and we'll just keep reusing it. And what's cool is I'm actually making a shower, so I could run water in here to rinse this out. Clean up won't be that big a deal. I think the toughest part is getting into that corner real good. Alright, we want to pack it in and fill all the crevices all the way to the back. Just use whatever falls, and there's no graceful way to do this. It's just going to be a disgusting mess. But that's alright. The results will be well worth it. So I don't know if you can see, but I'm a little hot. I've used up my first batch of grout, and it's time to get this haze off of here before this sets up any further. That's where our bucket of water and our sponge comes in. This sponge has a rougher side, which is handy. So this is wring out the sponge, start cleaning the tile. Okay, it looks like I'm making a big mess. It's going to smooth out these grout lines, and then you flip the sponge over, wipe in one direction only. This is like the Bounty commercial, right? One direction, leaves the tile clean, rinse the sponge. And it's going to take a couple applications of the sponge in the water, and you'll still have a final haze, but that'll wipe off in the end. So I'm going to get to work. Now see if you can see the change that occurs here in the grout lines in particular. That little extra moisture smooths that out. And then we'll wipe it clean as we go. Okay, looking sharp. Well, I got the shower all done, and I'll show you that in a minute, but a shower won't be any good without water, so let me show you my redneck water supply. The girls are taking Spanish class right now out here. I have to interrupt them. Here's my redneck water supply. There's the battery from the backhoe. There's my IBC tote, battery charger, and an RV pump hooked up to charge up our water lines. And of course, we need hot water, so I got this sharp little 12-gallon hot water heater and hooked her up yesterday, and these pipes are stubbed out for our little future kitchen. I couldn't figure how else to give you a wide-angle view of the shower. I still have this trim to put on the end of the wall, but the shower itself is all done. And I think all in all, it came out pretty nice, and we've even tried it out here. The completed shower base, tile, materials, the wonderboard, all ended up being about $325, and I think a tremendous success. So that's the end of this video. We've got running water, we can get clean, we can wash our hands, use the bathroom, climb up into the loft. Next project, kitchen cabinets. See you next time.